The argument for the relic guitars is really, well, I could buy this vintage Strat for, you know, I just saw a guy that spent 150 on like a 59, sure. You know, like it was a special color that he showed it to me last week. I was like, really, 150 grand, okay. Yep. Or you could spend, you know, $4,000 or $5,000 on the guitar that plays as good, and you're going to actually play it. You're not going to play the $150,000 guitar. I own guitars that I've bought when they were, you know, $5,000, and now they're worth a lot of money. And now I open the case and go, wow, and then I close the case and I slide it back under the bed and I'm playing. I'm a guitar guy, you know. It's insured. I've never broken anything, but I'm afraid to play it, you know. So like, I think that's the argument. I think that's why they got so successful. And you don't feel like you'll take it to a gig, and if you scratch it, you're not like, oh, I got this scratch, and now I have to. There's the guys that like have to sell their guitar once they get a scratch. But with that, you're already over the hump. You're good. You know, like it's all downhill. Well, and they feel different. They feel great. I think there'll be a time where it'll be like, remember when we did those relics? You know,
we don't do the closet classic, we don't do the closet classic finish anymore. Because people stopped buying it.
Was it
we do the NOS?
We do the NOS and the relics. And you can still get the custom classic, it's just a special order. But the thing that blows me away is that people seem to think that we dictate what the market is going to get. And really what it is we are dictated to what the market wants. Yeah. So it's like, if they want relics, man, we're going to make relics.
One thing I don't get is, like, when these artists first started, not first started, but when they were making the hits in the 50s and 60s, they were pulling any instrument off the shelves, playing the hell out of it, and, you know, making that instrument them rather than, oh, well, I want this rosewood body, I want this, you know, rosewood neck, maybe these lightweight tuners, one string tree rather than two string trees. They were playing it, and you know, if they were comfortable with something, they were, you know. Is that kind of how the Fender Custom Shop came to be?
You know, when it started, you got to think 1986. What was happening in 1986?
86 was all metal and hair bands and stuff like that. Yeah, and it was coming off the heels of Eddie, who was the guy who was just sitting there with like a hammer and a chisel just doing what he wanted on his guitar, and we all went, he's amazing, I want to do the same thing. So we all sat in our house. I was one of those guys that just bought bodies and ruined them, and just, you know, like refretted necks because I thought it was right.
And it was the first thing that Charvel did was a jack plate to go on a Les Paul that wouldn't break. That's how that company started. And all that was a jack plate that was on the back of a speaker cabinet, and they said, hey, well, we put that here. And that's where it started. But all of a sudden now, what I've just done to my Les Paul is I've modified my Les Paul. I've customized it, you know. Then brass rings, then a brass bridge, then brass knobs, then all, you know, brass nut. Oh my gosh, what a tone difference. John Mayer's recording his new record. He's recording his new record in Los Angeles right now at this house, right? And we had to go up there to do some videotaping and some other stuff. And so I called John and I said, I'm coming up, we're going to come up and talk a little bit, spend a couple of days. He goes, yeah, great. He goes, bring some guitars. First thing he said, bring some guitars. We took one of these up there because this is something new that we've been doing, and it's a different voice. It doesn't sound like a Tele really.
Why?
Because of the pickups and because of the wiring that's in it. The wiring is a little bit different. It has this little switch, this S1 switch inside the knob, and it puts a capacitor across all the pickups. So it really voices the guitar a little bit different. I showed a guy earlier today how this thing sounds really interesting. We got home the next day. He had a picture of this on his little website, on his blog, and he said, the La Cobranita, he goes, this guitar sounds amazing. He goes, I think this record's going to be a rock record. John Mayer gets the same amount of attention when he comes to get a guitar built as you would. Same thing, you know. If you're getting a master built guitar, we'll call you up and say, hey man, we're getting ready to build your guitar, what do you think? You know, Greg will call you up or whoever, you know, and you know, let's talk about amps. What amps are you using? What pickups do you like? You know, what tone are you looking for this guitar? It's that kind of a thing. I mean, that conduit that I talked about between the consumer and the guy building your guitar.
You know, he's the Fender guy, so he's gonna say, oh yeah, we'll do anything. But from a dealer perspective, who, like, you know, I'm the liaison with everybody, and you guys know all the brands. I'm not going to mention anybody because then I'll get the phone call. Hey, we don't like you anymore. But it's amazing how, like, we have a customer come in and say, I want to build this guitar and I want those pegs, and I make the phone call and they go, oh yeah, we won't do those pegs. Tell them to use these. And it's like, really? All right. And then I call the customer and they go, they won't do that, but you could use these. And he'll go, all right. But I'm spending $5 grand. Yeah, I know. All right, I'll use those instead. And that doesn't happen with Fender. Fender's just like, you got it. What else? Okay, great. See ya.
You come down here, you talk to Tommy. Tommy sits down, or somebody's staff sits down and talks to you and says, what color are you looking for? You show them a sample.
Yeah.
You know,
we had somebody come in one time, and he had this purple ski cap that he really liked, and he brought in the ski cap, and we sent it out. And we were like, yeah, let's match it. I sent back the cap came in the case with the guitar. It was perfect.
Buddy Guy's whole thing is a polka dotted Strat. I mean, that was a shirt. That was a shirt that he had. He said, this is what I want. I wish all of you could see. We go to the NAMM show and we set the booth up. We do. All the product managers set it up. We don't have a crew come in and set it up. So we set it all up. And then the guitars come in, and the guitars come in on pallets, and you unwrap the guitars, and you unbox the guitars, and you open up the case, and all you hear is, oh, oh, you know, it's like stuff like that. I mean, it's just, because every time you open it up, you know, people just pick it up and like, oh man, look at this, you know. And, you know, I'll get text messages or something. It's like, dude, we just pulled a couple of these guitars out. You got to get down here and check this out.
No, it's just really nice to hear that you guys are actually as excited about that as like I was when I heard about it, you know. And so you guys were excited to build it. I was excited to buy it, and that just is really, really great. Like you just get that feeling of wow, okay, this is being built like by fans for fans.
But it's kind of cool, you know. It's a great place to work. It's a great job to have, you know. I told Jimmy Vaughn, I said we were taking some guitars apart in this hotel room in Austin, and Jimmy was sitting there and he's going, man, I guess there's other things you could be doing on a Saturday. And I go, yep. I go, it could be worse. I could be making bumpers instead of fenders. Man, you know, I really appreciate my job and, you know, the people I work with and the people I work for and stuff. And it's just cool, you know. We're here.